Well,
not very far from Dhika, so I was able to make it on time. And I thank God for everything, even for this evening. Now, thank you, Timothy, for that. I want to say something before we proceed. Our place has been having a problem with the power. And in that connection, I will not be in a position to use my laptop because of the power continuity. My phone is okay because it's well fed. And I think because of continuity, I intend to use my phone so that we don't get disconnected. I'll inform you we can shift. But for now, please allow me to use this. Not what I like very much, but sometimes circumstances can compel us to use what we don't really love. And the life has challenges. So bear with me. When power comes, I'll shift and I'll notify you. Otherwise, thank you for asking, Timothy. And I think before we proceed, we can start with a word of prayer so that we start immediately. Anyone can lead us in a word of prayer, please. Anyone?
I propose Joan.
Okay. Let's believe and pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we come before you this evening. We want to say thank you for the gift of this day, for being with us up to this point. Lord, as we are gathered here to learn, we pray that what we learn is going to be beneficial, that you'll bring to our understanding what our teacher will teach us. As for the teacher, God, may you bless her. May you continue to increase her in wisdom and insight and bless her family. We pray for those who are yet to join, and we pray for a good connection until the end of this class. May all praise and honor and glory be unto your name. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
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 Prayer, thank you very much. We really appreciate God first. We may have all the knowledge in this world, but without our God and our able God, we may not head anywhere. Thank you for that. Thank you, Timothy, even for asking Joan to lead us in a word of prayer. We really appreciate. Like I said, I'm fine, I'm well. I feel that I have the energy to prepare the session. Together we can. And I'm optimistic that we shall make it together in this journey. And with you around and with your commitment, there is nothing impossible. So I pass the ball over to John. I can see John. Let me start with John. John, then you pass to others. Just in one word, we say our feelings as of here and now. It's a very good trait in counseling when we share our feelings as of here and now, because we are able to pick our emotions and we can be able to deal with them moving forward. Welcome. I've said John. When John shares, you can just pass it to other people. Or John is not around. Anyone can start.
I will start.
Okay.
Good evening, class. I've had a lovely week. As per today, what I can say currently, right now, I can say I'm feeling better.
I can go.
As I was saying, I am feeling I am feeling very relieved. I've had a very anxious day because I had mixed my dates and there was a deadline that I had not met at work. And so it was a big relief to find out that I was a day earlier in my planning. So I still have another whole day. So I'm feeling so relieved and I'm easy and I'm relaxed and I'm ready for the class.
Mm. Thank you.
I was
Yes.
I can go next.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. For me, I can.
Good evening, everyone. Sorry, we are in charge for the mission, so you will hear a little bit of noise on the top. But for me, I'm happy. I feel blessed. And my request today is if we can finish class earlier because I'm leading prayers. Yeah, later.
Thank you. Though we can hear a lot of noise, we can pick. Thank you. Next.
Okay, good evening.
Evening, Ernest.
Also, thank my God, and as also as well for the for what I can only say. I had said earlier, I'm trying to build my community members. I'm still enjoying the environment. It's so calm, so I have no because I started is answering bit of the brain. Also, yeah, getting a hunger for learning. So our teacher, we love you as we love one another, as we pursue this course. And I know at the end of the day, we will have achieved more. Otherwise, I have no much to say, but only to wait what you have for us today, our teacher. Thank you.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. For me, I'm doing well. I'm excited for this class. Mentally, I feel rushed. I feel like I've done many things, like I'm multitasking. I don't feel very settled mentally, but but I'm calm. Surprisingly, it's a confusing emotion, but I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to finally settle and focus on something. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, my colleagues. I had a very busy week, and today I traveled to Karatina for my former boss' wife's burial, and it was very emotional when I saw my former boss crying, and I couldn't hold it, and it was very emotional. But the Lord has been faithful. I've just left Karatina at 4. Just to make sure that by 6:30 I'm here. So by 5:30 I was in, and I which thank God because God has been faithful. He has given me and my wife safe journey, and I thank God, and I'm ready for the class. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who is going next, or I chip in and continue? Okay.
So good evening, everyone. Since the time we left last week, my week has been amazing. And the highlight of this week is even the HR was able to identify there is one skill that I have that he did not realize, and he was really happy about that. So I'm blessed and I'm feeling happy and a little bit anxious, but it's been quite a good day.
Okay, thank you, Marianne, for sharing. Thank you all those who have shared. Sometimes I do understand that online classes can be a bit tricky. Some are not settled where they are and they're in the classroom. So we cannot actually blame you. You may be in a situation that you are not able to participate, and all that is understood and taken into consideration. However, when we settle, we can actually participate, all of us. Otherwise, I want us straight away to go to the agenda of the day, because we have actually moved to the inception of the theories. We have been doing something we call, like, if I remember correctly, we normally even have in a book the prologue or the preliminary pages, and then we enter straight to the theories, which are the base for counseling. And we shall be tackling a few theories. The first one will be psychoanalytic theory, then we go to behaviorism theory, we go to person-centered. From there, we shall go to Gestalt theory, and finally, existential theory. Those are the main theories that we have actually captured. And this theory we are going to tackle today is in the category we call psychodynamic theory, because it captures the way the mind. The mind is affected by our past. That's why we are calling it psychoanalytic, because it is whereby you psychoanalyze your mind to see that which happened to you some time ago, and it is affecting the way you think, feel, and behave. But before we kick off, maybe briefly, I'd want to say that this theory, I have written it there, psychoanalysis theory, and you can call it psychoanalytic, psychoanalysis theory. Have you captured it somewhere? I have actually sent. Have you been able to see it? In the chat box. I did write psychoanalytic theory. Let me write again, you tell me whether you see it. Psychoanalysis theory, yes. Are you able to see that? Okay, that is the theory we are going to tackle. And that theory, I'll just give a brief history of this man whom we call, thank you for responding. Though I'm using my phone, I'll also try to be digital to make it more easier for my people. Sigmund Freud. By that man, I've also written there. I'll try to multitask. It's not easy when you are using a phone, but I'll try. Psychoanalytic theory or psychoanalysis, and it is by that man who is called Sigmund Freud. He was an Austrian neurologist. He was a neurologist, and he created this approach. Actually, we call this man the father of psychology, because he's the one who started the idea of psychology. It came up with him that far away during the Second World War. And this approach, as we are going to find it in a detailed form when you get the notes, it brings to the understanding of the human personality. And this man, Sigmund Freud, is actually considered as the most influential. He has influenced many. We are going to see, even as you study this theory, you are going to see that he influenced very many people. People like Albert Ellis, the ones who did the relative emotive behavioral therapy, they borrowed heavily from him. The person-centered, they have borrowed also heavily from this man. That's why we are saying he was most influential. And this man was born in the year 1856. I'm just trying to give a prologue so that we can pick something. And his father was just a merchant. And they settled in Vienna. And this man, Sigmund Freud, was brought up in a Jewish family. The family was Jewish, but he was non-practicing, as we shall see. He didn't practice that religion, but that's where he was born. So around 1873, he went to study medicine in the University of Vienna, and he worked in Vienna General Hospital. And then he moved on and then became a student of a neurologist called Jean Charcot. So he was actually mentored by that person. And from there, he did a private practice. And mostly he was working with, he specialized mostly in nervous and brain disorders. Maybe that's why he captured his passion, because he generally dwelt on brain disorders and what have you. And then we are told this man also married and had 6 children. He married a mother and had 6 children. So Freud was a married man. And when he developed this theory, he actually, there is a word people use called hypnosis. Used to be told hypnosis is where you hypnotize a person, you make people like they become unconscious, and when they become unconscious, they are able to reveal what is going on in their subconscious mind or their unconscious mind, owing to the fact that the brain is divided into 3 areas. We have the conscious, we have the subconscious, and then we have the unconscious. So Freud, because he worked in that particular area, he was able to hypnotize people. And when he hypnotized them, they could actually become unconscious and they could speak about themselves, the pains, the memories, and what have you. Okay, later on, we are going to see that his work now became known. And around 1902, he was appointed a professor of neuropathology in the University of Vienna, and he continued with the work. Then, I just want to wrap. Sorry, there was an important call there. I'm so sorry. There was a call I couldn't ignore. It was important. Okay. I was saying that this man was appointed a professor of neuropathology at the University of Vienna. And after the Second World War, he now spent time in clinical observation, and he concentrated on the application of his theories. Now that's when now he founded his theory, the psychoanalysis. And we are told this man suffered a lot, actually. Even if he was practicing that, we are told he was diagnosed with cancer of the jaw just around 1923, and he had 30 operations. I think that's why he came up with this theory, because it affected him very much. And therefore, the theory is now here with us. And he died around 1939. That's when he passed on. Other details, you pick them from the main notes, but that's the brief history of this man called Sigmund Freud, the father of psychology and the founder, we can say father of psychology generally, and the founder of a theory called psychoanalytic theory. That's where we are. So we can actually now move on to the theory itself so that we know what does this theory say. Now that we know the brief history of this man, what is this psychoanalytic theory? What is it talking about? What is it all about? What does it treat? That's what we are going to focus on this evening. And we shall explore this theory in segments. When I do the brief of the theory, just a bit, I'll straight away go to the key concepts of the theory. From the key concepts, then we shall go to other areas that I'll advise you accordingly. Because after key concepts are the what the theory entails, and we shall learn more. So, having said that, psychoanalytic theory, we have said the founder is Sigmund Freud. And this theory focuses on the unconscious mind. It focuses on the unconscious mind, that we have something in our unconscious that affects our behavior. That is the main tenet. We used to call them tenets, the tenets of the theory, that it focuses on the unconscious mind and how the mind, that unconscious mind can influence behavior, personality, and emotions. I want you to pick that. This unconscious mind that we have, everybody has an unconscious mind. There are things deep in our unconscious. They can actually affect our behavior. They can actually affect our personality. They can actually affect our emotions. So the way we behave, sometimes it's because deep down in that area of the unconscious, there are materials, there are desires, there are memories. There are so many things packed there. And once they come out, they can make us behave in a very funny manner. In fact, we have found people saying, I never thought this person to be a very emotional person. It's because now there was a retrieval of the unconscious materials, and they have brought a lot of chaos. I normally say all of us have what we call the psyche. We normally talk of the psyche. And the psyche is where all the mental abilities are located, all our mental abilities. We shall be capturing that. And in here now, when that area is affected, then it affects our psyche. And when your psyche is affected, you become disorganized, and you can have so many things that are really, really disturbing you. So it's that. And then it also says, these unconscious materials, the desires, they make people behave in a way that is actually out of their way if they are not controlled. If you don't control that, it can be very, very hectic for us. Sometimes we can become overwhelmed and we behave in a way like animals. If this material is just coming out without our knowledge and we are not aware, and sometimes actually we are not aware, it just comes. So that's what the theory mostly focuses on, that it is geared towards when we shall be dealing with people who have problems, we should gear towards bringing the unconscious to conscious, because that's the main tenet of this theory, bringing the unconscious to conscious without making this person get overwhelmed, because people can get overwhelmed and they can do dangerous things. So that's what Sigmund Freud says, and he says people are affected by the past. The past experiences can really affect us because what we passed through is packed somewhere. We have written it in our minds. Back inside our minds, we have packed those desires and memories. And when they are packed, sometimes they can come out in a very dangerous way, and they can affect our minds. And he also says a human being has a drive, two major drives. I just want to emphasize on that. We call it the thanatos. One drive is called the thanatos. Maybe I can share that. It's called thanatos. 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 Let me share that. So the thanatos is called the death instinct. So if your memories are very painful, you may think about evil things, negative things. So the thanatos is the negative part of the mind. It is called a death instinct. It is something that is very negative. It is something that is making people commit suicide. It is this that is making people have a lot of negativities in their lives, and they are really behaving like animals. If your thanato is more than the eros, you can really be a dangerous person. The other one is called life instinct. We call it the eros. The eros is the life instinct. This is the better part of you. It's the instinct that is actually alive, and it makes you feel good. So if there is no balance between the thanatos and the eros, and your thanatos supersedes the eros, you are likely to behave in a very dysfunctional manner and in an awkward manner. So that is that, about that theory, and we shall be capturing more. Before we move on, maybe you could be having a question on what I have said. I can clarify. If you have any question, you want a clarification, you want an input, you can just ask. I'm here before I move on. I will answer it. If you need a clarification, if there is somewhere you didn't pick very well, that I'm here. Let us interact so that I don't also get overwhelmed. Yes. Anyone who wants a clarification or an input? Marianne, what do you say about what we have said? No, she is not.
Okay.
Yes, yes, just it.
I think from where we are and what I've just picked, and I really I felt for this guy, the owner of this theory, Sigmat. And when you talked of the data operations, then I could become very empathetic to the situation that he was in, and surely I could connect as to why he came out with this kind of theories, this kind of a theory. And then at what time do you become unconscious in terms of mind? That is my maybe need a clarification on that.
Okay, if I pick your question correctly, you don't become unconscious. What I'm saying, in us, there are some unconscious materials packed in our minds because we have experienced many things as human beings. Let's assume I'm 50, I'm 40, I'm 30, I'm 20. From the time I was born, there are so many things that have happened to me. And those things, I have packed them in the unconscious material. That is that part of the brain that puts things, when things happen, on a pile. So these unconscious materials, to some extent or at some point, it can erupt. There can be a trigger. There can be a trigger, and when you are triggered very well, then this unconscious material can erupt. And when they erupt, it's like a volcano, because it can be very bad, particularly if you have kept those pains, those memories, those desires. And at that particular time, the thanatos is at its worst. The thanatos now takes toll at that particular time when you retrieve the negativities and you really behave in a way that is not very good. So I was saying about unconscious materials. And these unconscious materials are like our memories, our desires, those ones. Things that we have kept down there in our minds. I hope it is clear. Kare? Yes, Imani raised her hand.
No, Mwalimu, I don't know whether this one is in connection with these unconscious minds, but I wanted to ask that, is it possible that part of what happened maybe in a person's past, that they will forget a section of what happened, and they are, even in their mind, they cannot remember anything? Is it possible? And if it is possible, where is it stored if it is not in the unconscious mind?
It is also in the unconscious mind, but in the long-term memory. It has not been able to be retrieved. Upon retrieval, it can come. You know, there are things we have kept down deep in our minds. In fact, some we don't even know whether they are there. But it can come a time there is a certain trigger. Something just happens. And when it happens and it is similar to what you passed through, you find yourself erupting. That's what I know. Like now, there are people who say when they come for therapy, okay, you have made me remember a very painful thing that happened to me when I was 10 years old. And I have never known whether it is there because I've never remembered. But what you have said has triggered my thought. So sometimes they can be there, they are hidden, but at some point, a trigger can come from anywhere, even through maybe therapy, even through talking, when we share deeply with our friends, and you find yourself releasing those materials unconsciously. Sometimes they can come and you don't even remember, you didn't even remember them, but a trigger just comes and you just find yourself there. So it can happen that there are things that we can't remember, but a trigger can come. A trigger can come, and those unconscious materials can come out, and sometimes in a very negative manner. In fact, I can give a case example. Once I did therapy, and there was this man who had been in pain in bitterness, unconscious. He didn't know why he was in pain. And actually for 26 years, he had a very toxic marriage, very toxic. And he kept what? He kept abusing his wife verbally, physically, and emotionally. So one time, I don't know, it happened that by God's grace, I went somewhere. I think I went in Oro Dagetari. I think that I was. And he picked just my number. So he called me. When he called me, we talked online virtual for some time, for a very long time, many days. Then he told me, I feel I need to come to you physically. He was just from those areas of Embu, those far areas. So he came. And actually when he came for therapy, and we talked deeply now, and he started sharing. He remembered at 6 years, he used to be molested sexually by the house girl, and it was painful. And he cried. And he told me I didn't know what had been disturbing me. I have come to realize this has been my pain. And I have been abusing everybody in my family without my knowledge. So sometimes it can be hidden until sometimes there is a trigger, or people go for therapy and they can be able to retrieve. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, Mwalimu, thank you.
Yes. Somebody has asked a question. Maybe somebody can read the one who has, it has disappeared before I completed my reading. Okay, question. Since our past experiences hidden in our unconscious mind affects our behavior, does that mean we do not entirely have free will in our thoughts? You have the free will, but some of the free will is conscious. Free will is conscious. Free will is conscious. When you say free will, you have a willpower, and the willpower is in the mind. Willpower is in the mind. But the willpower could also be maybe the way where it is positioned, it's not the same level with the, it could be conscious or unconscious. Because if your willpower is in the conscious, then you cannot misbehave. If it is in the unconscious, you misbehave. Yes, the free will is there. You have the willpower. But it depends on whether this willpower you have is in the subconscious or the unconscious. Are you aware of it? By that I mean, are you aware of that free will? Because human beings have the capacity to think about what they are thinking about. And I said that. That's the free will. And we have the choice. We can make choices. But sometimes our mind is dysfunctional, it's crooked as a result of what we bypassed in the past. So we even call it cognitive distortion. When you have a cognitive distortion, you are not able to align your issues. Even the hidden desires are so awkward. So the free will also is also overwhelmed. We shall be dealing with that. And you shall understand. But thank you for that. The free will is there, but sometimes even that free will can be overwhelmed. Yes. Any other question? Before I go now to the concepts of the theory, they will open you up. Once I do 2 concepts or 3, you'll be in a position to understand. So, Freud talks about concepts. I think I have 4 concepts. Are they 4 or 5? And I think by the time I'll be finishing with these concepts, we shall have opened our minds. So he talks about one concept called the structure of personality. One concept he talks about is the structure of personality. Structure of personality. That one, the structure of personality. And this structure of personality, it has what I call the psychic apparatus. I'll explain what I mean by psychic apparatus, because we have them. Psychic apparatus. Okay, the structure of personality is one concept we shall be dealing with. When we talk of the structure of personality, a human being, I want to make it very easy. A human being has three, they are called tripartite structure. And we call it, well, the first one is called the id. And I can write there, it is the id, ID, just like that. The id. The other one is called the ego. I'll explain. And the ego. And the last one is called the super ego. Super ego. We have heard of these things, but maybe we have never been able to understand them. So we have the id, that is ID. Id stands for identification document. I will explain. So when we talk of these three psychic structures, they are called the psychic structures or apparatus, the id, the ego, and the superego. A human being has all these structures. These structures, they operate in one. So you have the id, you have the ego, and the superego in one person. How do they operate? Now, the id, which is the first one, you are born with it. In fact, we are all born with the id. And this id, it seeks for immediate gratification. Ni ile inakuchocha, fanya hivi, piga huyu. Hiyo ndio id. It is driven by the pressure principle. It is a very primitive part of us. Sometimes you can see even a 70-year-old man talking like a child. The id has really affected that person. In fact, we are told, and the id it's very instinctual. It uses the instincts. It does not reason. If in fact the id doesn't reason, because it is a biological component in us. It craves for food. It's the one that craves even for sex. It is the one that it desires many things. It is that thing that requires us to feed it most of the time, and it is never satisfied. The id is never satisfied. Okay, let me explain the ego. The ego is the rational you. It's the executive part of you, the thinking person. That's why you say my ego. There are some people whose ego are very okay. They reason well. They can be able to weigh things. They are not very emotional. You know, when you use the id, you are very emotional. And the ego, it is also the reality principle. It faces the reality. You want food at this time. It's not lunchtime yet. We used to be told by our teacher, okay, your body needs sex, not at this time, not with this person. The ego is the one that is going to balance that and tell the id, watch mchezo, not at this time, not with this person. A very good example. The ego is the one to tell the id, you have 1,000, you need to live your lifestyle, you need to buy this, don't do impulse buying. That is the ego. Then the last one is the super ego. The super ego now, it is that keeps the moral standards, and it's the one that is has the conscience. We find there are some people who are so ruthless, who are so heartless. Their conscience is very poor. Anakukanyanga na hajali, waacha upuzi, unamekanyagwa na wakati umekanyanga mtu. Meaning your super ego, your superego is wanting. But the other side of the superego, sometimes if it is inflated, you can suffer from being a perfectionist. So we have those three apparatus in us, according to Freud, and they operate in us. And if we are not able to balance, things can be very difficult for a person. That is what is making most of us suffer, because some of us are driven by the id. If you are a manager in an institution, you are really bulldozing people there. You are not giving them because your id is too hollow. You have a hollow id, which is very demanding. Let me not be very harsh. Let me use the word demanding. Your id is demanding and so forth. Any question about those three apparatus? Psychic, they're in the psyche, by the way. They are in the psyche, and the psyche is the area where all our mental abilities are situated. Any clarification that you require from the psychic apparatus or the structure of personality? You may ask. You may ask. Ashley, do you have any question on that? Or you are okay? Yes, somebody is telling me something. Let me look at it critically. You are asking something. Kindly clarify the superego. Okay, the superego is the internalized moral standard. It's the one that is in charge of the keeping the morals. And we know the morals, the good and bad. It wants to do good. In fact, it's the one that tells a person, surely, why should you behave that? It's wrong. Why should you call a person that name? It's wrong. That is the work of the super ego. Yes. And it's the one also in charge of conscience. Conscience ni the life in you, ile kitu which condemns you when you are doing something bad. There are some people whose superego is very weak. They don't even feel for the other people. They are so heartless. They see people suffering, but they don't bother. So the superego is a bit weak. Yes. Rosette, what do you tell me today? Yes, Mary Gure. Gure say something.
Okay, can we say the people who are called narcissists, their super ego, it's very bad? Can we classify them as?
Yes, because when we have said, when you have an inflated superego, you feel like you are the best, perfectionist. And perfectionist can either be negative or positive. So we can classify them there. Yes. And also Mary, we say these people, their id. Their id is too much because they really love themselves, they oppress others, they want their needs to be met. So they are more in the id. They are more in the id. Because one, they are very demanding. Very demanding. In fact, they don't care. They only want to be satisfied. So the id is more in them. The id, I think the id is more. Because they didn't even suppress others. These are people who can have even food and eat alone and do not even consider other people because their id is, the pressure principle in them is too high. Mostly they are here in the id. I also try to look at that in a deeper manner, and somebody can also please try to check for us, those who have other gadgets aside. You check the relationship between the superego and narcissistic personality, and also the relationship between the id and narcissistic personality. Maybe some people can tell us if you are near a gadget, another separate gadget, For me, I'm confined a bit because I'm using one. When you have two, you can be able to adjust. But I feel the id is more my dear. Any other question? Could we say that the students taking part in the ongoing school burning are being controlled? Yes, that's the id. The id. The biological component. Let me just tell you something because I have taught adolescent counseling. These teenagers, they have something called egocentrism. They think about themselves only. Another thing, these children, the frontal lobe is very, very low because teenagers, the brain is divided this way. We have the frontal lobe, that is the rational frontal lobe. We also have the limbic. I'm just explaining a bit for this question. And then there is the cerebrum. Let me simplify. When we talk of the teenagers, what grows fast is the limbic. The limbic is the emotional area. The emotional area grows faster than the frontal lobe. So these people are controlled more by the emotions, which is the id. They are controlled more by the emotions. They are very emotional, they are very egocentric, and they see things in their own perspective. They are in their own world. I agree with you. Because the limbic system is very in a healthy personality, the id and the superego act as on opposite sides of an internal scale. They are natural enemies, and they never communicate with each other directly. Instead, they pull the ego in opposite directions. True. Something that I can say is the three. The three now, we have the id. Let me put the ego katikati so that it is understood. Then the superego. Thank you for that question. What happens is, these two are always fighting. So the work that is being done, the ego does a lot of work, trying to balance. Reason, wewe uko too much, anamwambia how wawili wana fight. Then the ego comes in and tell them, no, stop fighting. So actually there is a fight between the id and the superego. So who balances the id and the superego? It's the ego. Yeah, they are enemies. They are enemies. Yes. Thank you for that, Devi. They pull the ego. And we are going to see in the final end, the ego becomes overwhelmed. The ego will become overwhelmed at some point because these two ni powers bili. As they fight, this ego is bruised. And when this ego is bruised, it is injured. It is actually suppressed. Unajua, these are two people. It's like you have 4 children, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. They are fighting against each other. And let's assume now, maybe these children, the father is not near. Or maybe and the mother is here in the middle. You can imagine. Now, to be able now to work on these two forces, these are 4 people against 1. It's not easy. So the ego has a lot of work to ensure that and the id will never listen. It doesn't make sense. The superego is feeling no. It is even so egocentric. In fact, the ego has egocentrism and so forth. The id is the part of the personality that seeks yes. It operates on the pressure principle and wants its needs satisfied without considering yes. Narcissistic behavior often involves excessive self-focus. Thank you. That's the id. Needs for admiration, entitlement, and difficulty, considering other people's feelings. So the id contributes to the narcissist. Thank you. Thank you for helping. Thank you. I think I was correct when I said the id. Thank you so much. Clarification done by the chat GPT or the whatever. Am I clear there now?
Yes, I also have something to add.
Add, my dear.
On the same note, Like in my side, it says ego and narcissistic personality are related but not identical. Ego is a universal psychological structure, while narcissistic personality represent the extreme fragile and defensive distortion of that structure. Ego exists on a spectrum. That is the fragile ego, easily wounded, dependent on validation. Inflated ego, that is defensive, controlling, and grandiose. And healthy ego, it's secure, flexible, capable of empathy and humility.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me ask you a question. Can we make our egos unhealthy as human beings? That is my question. Can we make our egos healthy or unhealthy? Somebody can answer that.
Yes.
We can, eh? How can we make our ego unhealthy? Yes, because we can.
So we can make our ego unhealthy when we are very defensive and always depending on validation.
Thank you. Thank you. We want to be validated. We want to be enabled, like in the sense that you want to be nurtured always. You want things to be done your way. You know, you become very egocentric. You bruise your ego. In fact, the ego is also very sensitive. Don't feed your ego always with the good things. Let it sometimes also know things are not also good, because it's the reasoning part of you. Note, when we incapacitate the us, the we, the I, when I incapacitate the I, I'm done. The id has no control, the superego. So let us not ruin our ego by the way we are looking at things, both by nature and nurture. Feeding it that I must be validated. We shall be coming to that. Some people feed their egos very badly. With some belief system, they say, I must be obeyed. Things must happen this way. Who told you? When you nurture your ego in that way, it becomes overwhelmed and you become totally dysfunctional person. The superego now collapses and the id also collapses. And that's why we are having human beings who are so devastated, so frustrated because their ego was fed in the wrong way. So thank you. That's a good point. Okay, can we go to the other concept? We are through with the when we choose to feed the id, always, yes. Does the external environment contribute to the functioning of these three apparatus? Yes. External. Like now, if you show your children that whatever they say you give them, they say, Mom, 40 bob, ATM we could have for Mom, yogurt. Dad, you are feeding the ego. And those children will really, really crush you. Because I have said the id is very hollow. Hollow. It's never satisfied. Because when I take that yogurt today, tomorrow I need another one. Can we do what I call delayed gratification? There is a word we use as delayed gratification. Delayed. So that you also help the ego. Delayed gratification. Gratification. Delayed gratification. Very key. Very, very key. So how can I balance the hot? Somebody is saying, how can I balance ego and id? It is you feed the ego more. When people come for therapy, we help them to be rational. We help them to think more than feel. Help yourself to think more than you feel. Tell your brain things must not always be done the way I want. The problem human beings have, they have wants instead of needs. Tell your ego, yes, you may want this, but it's not possible. This is what you need for now. Can you also feed your ego? Tell your ego, I'm Elizabeth right now. I need money. I tell my, yes, you need money, yes, ego. But then they eat, but there is no money. survive with what you have. So you can balance. Okay, let me go to the other concept. I have not said we shall not continue to brainstorm, but let's go to another concept. It's called the unconscious mind. The other key concept, unconscious mind. I hope the theory is not very hard. Unconscious mind is the reservoir of repressed feelings. So all of us have a mind with repressed feelings and memories outside conscious awareness. And this unconscious mind, it drives our behavior. It's good to know. All of us have unconscious mind. There are some things that will come to you without your knowledge because they are hidden. There is a reservoir. It's like the way you have a water reservoir. And then this water, sometimes at the depth, bottom of the tank, there is dirty water. So even our minds have our mind has dirty water. In that reservoir, there can be feelings that are negative, they are repressed there, zimegogana, ziko na uchafu, and sometimes they are outside our conscious, and therefore we should be aware of that. Awareness is key. Everybody must know that we have repressed feelings that really come out very badly, particularly if there is a trigger. I was surprised the other day when a young boy told me, I remember when I was just in grade 6. No, and he was not even in grade 6. In fact, he was in grade 4. Na akagoganisha mlango kwao akasema, I still remember what you did to me when I was in grade 4. When my father went to the rural area with my other brother, they left me there. Why were they leaving me there? And he was very bitter about that. Those are the repressed feelings. And that's why I say these children that we assume, and they suffer. They are piling. They pile. And that's why they are burning their wives and their children. Let's be very careful because of this unconscious mind. Okay. I don't have much to say about the unconscious mind, not unless you have something else to add. Let me go to the third one called defense mechanisms. In fact, defense mechanisms are just strategies. A strategy a human being uses to run away from problems. Like now, people use something we call denial. You mean that one did that? I can't agree. I can't believe. So they deny. So there are strategies a human being use so that they are able to cope with anxiety. They are able to cope with life and their self-image. There are some people who feel they don't want things to be known because they'll be ashamed. So they use the defense mechanisms very well. And there are very many, and I'll give you a chance to discuss the defense mechanism. But meanwhile, we can look at least 2 here. Tell me what this defense mechanism means. I'll give you only 2 for now, but I'll give you time to discuss them and see how we use them and how they help the ego. You know, defense mechanisms are not used by the id. They are used by the ego. When these 2 enemies are fighting, the id and the superego, the ego now becomes overwhelmed. And when the ego becomes overwhelmed, it uses a strategy. Hamutanisubua. Mimi lazima nitumie strategy yangu ni hii. And then, okay. So there is one defense mechanism. I want to write for you there. You try to tell me. Maybe mute, somebody is telling you. I want to hear from you this one. There is a projection. Na ingine tunaita na hii. Huku power imekataa kukuja lakini we shall survive. Those two, projection nimeacha kanafasi kidogo lakini na regression. Maybe somebody can tell us from your own knowledge, how do human beings use these two mechanisms to survive? Repression and projection only. Someone can mute. Mm-hmm.
On the projection part, I'm thinking it has never happened to me. This is the theory I've seen. Well, how did you put it, teacher? I forgot. So that experience has triggered something that has never happened to you. And that is how you are told. Someone told you how you see the thing that happened to you. You're projecting this to that person as a self.
Sorry, is Catherine talking to all of us?
Yes, someone.
Hey, Catherine.
I can't hear from her.
Yeah, Catherine, are you with us or against us? No joking, but are you talking with us? Because we can't hear you well.
Okay, no, someone can go.
Yeah, let me do the projection. So projection and regression are two of the most important unconscious defensive mechanisms, the way the mind protects itself from anxiety, shame, or emotional conflict. They all operate automatically outside awareness, and they shape relationship, reactions, personality, and patterns. So projection happens when unconsciously attribute your own feelings, impulses, or traits to another person because they feel too threatening to accept in yourself. It's not me, it's you. Examples, you feel anger, but you say they hate me. You feel attached to someone, but you accuse them of flirting. You feel insecure, but call others jealous or judgmental. You want control, but say others are controlling. It happens to avoid guilt, shame, or anxiety, to protect a fragile self-image, to avoid facing uncomfortable truths. And lastly, it shows up in relationship, jealousy, conflicts, narcissistic personality dynamics, childhood trauma patterns. Thank you.
I hope you have been able to pick that. You dealt with the projection more, eh? Yes? Yes, projection. Yes, thank you.
Somebody else can do the regression.
Yeah. Catherine is saying network has a problem. We understand. Regression means what now, according to you? Anyone else in a position?
Okay, I can go.
Yes.
Regression is when a person unconsciously reverts to childlike behaviors, emotion, or coping styles when overwhelmed by stress or conflict.
Powerful. That's very powerful. Thank you so much, the two of you. When we do regression, we go back to old habits. You find some people even going to nail biting. You find your child was not bedwetting, but they start bedwetting. They have been so overwhelmed. There can be life stressors that they can lead you to go back to old habits. Things that you used to do when you are a young girl, you start doing them, then you know something very wrong in the psychic apparatus is going on. It's not just a behavior, because every behavior has a reason. The ego is so overwhelmed, and the ego now cannot control what is happening. It is off balance. It is out of the awareness, and then you go back to old habits. We even find some people, they used to be very reasonable, but at some point, they start behaving like young children. They are so abusive all of a sudden. They are doing what we are calling regression. They go to old habits as a result of the stressors that are stressing them. Thank you so much, those who have participated in the defense mechanisms.
Mwalim,
So that, yes, my dear.
I think I can read the examples here. It can help all of us to understand better. I think they are so good. So examples of regressions: throwing tantrums during conflict, becoming passive, helpless, or overly dependent, using baby talk or childish tone, avoiding responsibility, seeking comfort objects or routine, and emotional shutdown or sulking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my dear, for giving those examples. Even those tempers. In fact, tempers are supposed to, which are supposed to be at 20. You are an old man of 40 years and your tempers look, you are now becoming old instead of growing up. That's what I can use in a layman's language. Instead of growing up, you are growing old because you are going back. Thank you so much for that input. It's powerful. So at our places of work, we shall be finding such characters with so many defense mechanisms, and we should try to establish what is not happening. What are they trying to hide? What is this that is disturbing them? There could be some overwhelming issues, and we are told when we overuse the ego, it's very dangerous. Because when you overuse the defense mechanisms, actually things go bad because you cease to become rational anymore. You are weakening your ego. So even if we have issues, for example, let me give an example because it's good to give. Like now, the economy is not very good on our side. We are suffering, most of us. And some people are not facing the reality. They are refusing to face the reality. They are refusing completely. If you don't have that money, you don't. So reduce your lifestyle. Stay according to your standard. Because once you put on those layers and defenses, you overwhelm your ego and you also weaken your ego. It will not be thinking. Thank you. So that was the third concept. Structure of personality 1, unconscious mind 2, defense mechanism 3. I go to the fourth one, is called psychosexual stages. This one I'll just mention a bit because it's an area we need also to delve deeper in our discussions. Psychosexual, psycho and sexual, psychosexual. Yes, somebody, regression is an unconscious defense mechanism where an individual, when faced with severe anxiety or stress, reverts to an earlier, safer stage of psychosexual and emotional development. Very good. You have mentioned that word, and that's where I am. That word, psychosexual. I think all of you can note that. I will not write it again. When I talk of psychosexual, these are stages a human being all human beings undergo. But these sexual stages, according to Freud, they affect our psychology or our mind, because psycho is mind, sexual has to do with the body. So whatever we went through from when we were born until we were of age, it affected ourselves very much. It affected our personality very much. That's what it means. And I'll just mention as a by the way, before maybe we can dive deeper later. According to Freud, he says, when a person is, they have the oral stage. Oral stage is for sucking. They go to the anal stage. There is the phallic. There is the latent, and there is the genital. I want to be simple and clear. And these are 5 stages. He talks of 5 psychosexual stages. And these stages, they affect the personality of a person, the way they are dealt with. If a child, for example, did not have the oral done well, that is the breastfeeding, they get what we call a fixation. If a mother did not breastfeed a child well, we find individuals who have oral fix. The biting, even old people, you find them biting their nails. Kuna watu wanakula nails zao mpaka wamalize. Hawakumalizana na kunyonya hao. Because they bite their nails. Wengine ni kukula bairo. They ball points haina hata nini. Kako kadogo kamefika hapa. Ameikula. Because of the cycle, the oral, whatever. Thank you for seeing that. I'm giving very, very typical examples so that you see them. Nail biting, biros, and what have you. These are people who really like even kissing, na smoking. Anything that has to go to them. And that's why I once met a girl. This one scared me once. Just a student for counseling. This girl was in lesbian. She was a lesbian. She was not hiding. So the thing that really scared me, she told me that the way she does it is by kissing, deep kissing with another guy. And sure enough, her lips were very slippery. They looked slippery. And at some point before you even continue, nikamuuliza, are you okay? The lips, what is not happening? She first hid, but finally she told me, mine, I do it through kissing. That this is oral. The oral part was not dealt with. She developed a fixation. Let us be very, very careful, young women. Please breastfeed your child. The other one is, here, still in the oral, just to mention a bit, when they miss the oral here, they become people we call spendthrift. The oral fixation, overeating, thank you. I can see a lot of things there. Somebody has written them for us there very well. Thank you. May God bless you. So where are we now? We are in the oral, 0 to 1 year. Oral fixation, overeating, neediness or mistrust. Oh, will the world take care of me? Surely. If you go to the psychosocial stages of Erik Erikson, utapata huyu mtoto akona trust versus mistrust. Utapata huyo mtoto akona stress. Hiyo ni, and most of them I hear, ni hawa, hapana, hii itakuja hapa kwingine. Then we have the anal stage. Hii nayo ni bowel control. If it is not done well, ukifungia mtoto sana, wewe usikojoe, usikunie hapo, kana fungia. And this boy lacks or girl lacks what we call autonomy. Oh, they feel guilty. They become stingy. In fact, these people are even misers in a way. Eh? Can I control myself? Can you hear now? Psychological theme. Can I control myself? Thank you for the one who has been able to give that. Others can see it very well. The phatic is there down for you, erector complex. The boy and the father, sorry, the boy and the mother, the girl and the father. Whereby, if the girl did not stay with the father in the right way and is not able to depart from the love of the father, they develop what we call erector complex. If the boy is not able to depart from the mother's love at a given age, that is age 3 to 6, they develop the Oedipus complex. Very, very dangerous. Am I lovable? Am I powerful? We used to be told there is a book called The Oedipus, the boy who married the mother. Yes, and they got children. Then the other stage, as mentioned here, is the latency, whereby the boys can stay with the girls. No, boys like staying alone. Girls like staying alone. In fact, they don't socialize. And this stage is also very complex. I don't want to go deeper. Why? Because if the boys are not able to separate from the boys and go to the girls, that's where homosexuality is coming in. Socialization is boys at this stage, girls. But if they are not able to deal with this stage, they develop a fixation. Utapata lesbians, sababu girls hawaachani na girls. Utapata boys may develop that the other one. Then the last one, that one now goes to the teenage, and this is where they get the identity. So those are the few stages we have. Maybe when you are free, we can also discuss them in a group so that you can internalize. And we have said, like somebody has explored, also in my case, you develop the fixation. I think these are good things. Wherever you sourced them from, if it is possible, you can also draw them in the group so that they can also compare with what I have. Very important. You can draw them there. Even if I also give you the notes, I think they will be able to compare and get what they are not going to pick from mine, because we all see things differently. That is the fourth key concept. Nataka kumalizana na concept so that I give some work to be done. Mtu aweza choka kuongea. Sitaki ifike saa 2 when I'm still talking. Now, the other concept ya 4 is called transference and countertransference. It is called transference. Yeah, simply coming from the word transfer. It is how we project our feelings, how we transfer our feelings to others. And transference can happen in the sense that, for example, I'll give you this as an example in therapy. You can have a person you are counseling. Let me give it from that perspective. And when you are counseling this person, they blame you for what they are going through because they see you as the figure that really oppressed them. For example, let's say a girl is talking to a female counselor or a male counselor. And then this girl, at some point, the father mistreated her. They will transfer the anger to the male counselor, seen as if that is the father. Then countertransference is opposite. Let's assume Elizabeth is a counselor and I'm counseling a person. When I do counter, the client tells me the issue. Hey, I have this issue, this. And then as a counselor, I forget. And I use the client issue to nurse my feelings. I have counter-transferred. Instead of helping this person, I have taken what my client is saying and trying to heal myself. For example, if a client says, hey, the way my father mistreated me, I really feel bitter about it. Then as a counselor, you say, I also feel, so you are also like me. I also feel bitter about it. It's very wrong, very wrong. You shouldn't do that. If you feel overwhelmed that you cannot handle that client because you have an issue similar to theirs, refer the client. Don't do counter-transference. It's very, very dangerous. Yes. That is that. I beg to stop there for these concepts. Not unless you have something to comment on. We can have Rosette today. Irene, you have raised your hand. Irene, tell us something before we move on to something else.
Thank you so much. Just inquiring about thumb sucking. For those children who do thumb sucking, would you classify it as one of these stages, like the oral stage, something?
I'll classify it oral stage. Oral, it is in the oral stage. Because the anal, they become stige. They become stige. That's why we have misers.
Mm-hmm.
And if the anal was done carelessly, whereby the child was not allowed to control the ball even a bit, let me say bowel a bit. The parents were not caring. Anakunia hapa, anatoka hapa, anafanya hivi kuchafua chafua. Huyo mtoto anakuaga kitu tunasema spendthrift. They are so extravagant, they misuse their money because the bowel care was careless. So they also developed a fixation in that area. They became very careless with them. We find even there are some people who are very careless, even as grown up with their bowel. They have not been able to, they cannot control themselves a bit. They can, I have seen several. It is because of that. So if the nail biting, it's oral, but anal, it's where we get the misers. If it was very stingy, if it was trained strictly, huyo mtu kutoa shilingi yake inakuwa shida because they were trained to close. Hakuna kufunguli. Even these are girls sometimes who are not liable even to marry. They refuse to marry because even giving in to a man, it's a big deal.
So would we say, because mine was about the thumb sucking, kunyonya kidole. Because I'm thinking of those, we've got scenarios where when the expectant lady goes for that scan, already that child has a thumb in the mouth. Does it communicate about the mental state of the mother, or how would you say, what causes such, or it's just something biological beyond the mental status, psychological status?
I think when it comes to such things, we may not be able to explain well But according to me, I would say maybe the state of the mother, maybe there was extreme shock. And the child involuntarily, because that one is just a reflex action, it reached the child. That is one way I can explain. Maybe the shock of the mother, or it is just something biological we may not be able to explain. It can be in two ways, either the biological part of it, which we have no control, or the mother got shocked. And when the shock now reached the child, because we have some women who get stresses, and this stress can also affect the child. Another thing I'm also thinking, when the child is being formed in the womb, there are so many things that are happening. Very many things we have no control over. And the way we know as women, even what we have seen, the way the child grows, kana grow kama jikuja. So maybe in the development, something somewhere can go wrong, and that child can find himself or herself in such a position. I'm just trying to explain. Yes, the formation can make that child. Like now, madam, we normally see some children. I remember when I was giving birth to my second born, there is this woman who came into the ward. It was so scary. And the child, now the child did not turn. Kwa hivyo mgongo ndio ulikuwa hapa mbele. So it was the doctors have to come to awatoe mtoto na sababu they cannot pidua the boy. The boy did not turn naturally. So some of these things may also happen that way naturally, and it is something we have no control over. So because I don't know what happens that a child is not turning the way it is supposed to turn at the right time. So there could be a problem. Yes. That is the much I can be able to give. Maybe others can chip in. You know, we can have a wealth of knowledge from other people. They can also share. Please. Or we are okay. Thank you for asking. Yes. Anybody who wants to talk?
Yes. Yes. Maybe I would like to ask this thing. For a child who is who has an anger issue, in which category do they fall in? Which stage could that child be falling? Hi. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Oh, you asked the stage.
A child who has anger issues.
Mm.
Yes. Where can that be classified?
According to me, I don't think we can classify yes, to some extent we are told these stages, they form the personality of a person. And maybe we divert a bit. When we talk of, there is psychosocial stages by Eric Erikson, kuna ka stage ka kwanza, trust versus mistrust. So maybe if that child 0 to 1, the one of the oral, like the oral, if this child is not trusting the parents, they mistrust them and they develop anger issues to them. So I think it can cut across mostly the oral and the anal, those initial stages. How do you handle your anger when this child is watching you? And still, because let me go back so that I can explain a bit. I have seen these 6 to 12. Let me go up to, I think that it is up to third stage, because that's where the personality of a person is formed. So I think the oral, the anal, and the phallic, because that's where the personality of a person is formed. Maybe the anger issue can dwell from 0 to 1, the second stage 1 to 3, and 3 to 6, around there. Around there, depending on the way you treat that child from the very beginning when the child was born. But I still have a different input from what I read somewhere, or from what I have heard other psychologists saying. They say right from the womb, a child can come as a compliant child. That is a child who is very peaceful and lovable. Right from the womb can come a very rebellious child. So anger issues can be genetical. That's what I can say. That is like nature. And anger issues can also be in nurture, the way you nurture your child. So it can be two-way. I cannot actually try to fix them at a particular stage, but the nurture part of it, particularly preliminary stages, it can affect the anger issues of the child, but also the environment in the womb and also the genetics can also affect the anger issues in a child. That's what I can say. I don't know whether others have other inputs. We help that person who needs that.
Yes, I do have an input.
Thank you.
No, you see, when a woman is pregnant, and for example, you are listening more to a certain song, and when you give birth to that child, when they hear that sound, they can relate. Oh, I used to hear this. I can imagine if you are pregnant and you're going through the 9-month period and then you are being beaten all the time, your husband is angry. The kind of environment that child is exposed to can also dictate my thinking, how that child will behave when they grow up, because they in the womb they can understand anger. When they now born and then they can hear their father shout, they can associate na hiyo nilisikia nikiwa wapi. Like, that's my thinking. So
I think that, thank you. That's very powerful, because like the way I've said, it's genetical, it can be in the womb. And that's why some children come when they are very rebellious. Thank you for giving the input. They can understand the anger. So they come out as angry people, because the environment was also very bringing a lot of anger issues. That's why I talked about nature and nurture. So the nature of the womb will produce a child who has aggressive issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, teacher. And now, if I can continue, maybe with another question. If that's the case, can the anger issue now can it form in the unconscious mind of the kid, and of which now when the kid grows up, the children that you are seeing, they are fighting, they are burning the schools, could it be the cause of the actions?
Thank you, Mary. Yes, yes. They have repressed them. Thank you. They have repressed. Yes, they have repressed the anger. And now the anger is coming out when there is a trigger, particularly if somebody tells them it is good to do this, and then they remember the bitterness they have been through, they can do anything. I agree with you. Most of the things we see, they are unconscious materials. Child sense rejection while they are in the womb. Yes, they can sense. Yeah, they can sense. Actually, they can. We even hear there are some children who come out of the womb and they just see they are hated. And that child from the very beginning can say, mimi sipedwi. Nobody told that child, but lakini rejection came. particularly if the mother is saying, says when she is expectant, huyu mtoto sasa, sikuwa nataka mtoto mwingine. I think that language gets into the child without our knowledge. So we have to be very careful. Devi, what do you have to say today before we get a break? Kidogo.
Okay, just before David says what you want to say, I still have another clarification. No, since that now we've come to a conclusion that maybe it the actions are out of the anger that the kids are sensed when they were in the womb. How can we, as now the counselors, we are the people who are training to be counselors, how can we now assist a parent who has such kind of kids, who have gone through such kind of situations and now they are grown up, they are growing up and they need assistance? What would you maybe help us to assist the parent or the client rather?
Now, as young children or as they grow up?
Both young and you see now they are teens. Now they're in school, they are teens. Yes.
You do the nurturing. You nurture them in a positive way. You are not very negative. Whatever they experienced was bitter, and also you allow them to share how they feel about their life. Help them to share how they feel about their lives and how it affects them. In fact, as young as 3 years, a child can share. And they can tell you, I'm bitter, my mother beat me. Alikuchapa kwa nini? Share with them. Help them to share what they feel that is not working for them. If you help them to share, then they will remove those things from themselves. They can work.
So I have an input.
Yes.
So, for example, if that child is just born and the mother was going through that when she was pregnant, I believe as a mom, you still have the 5 stages, yeah? There is the oral. You can do it better when it comes to the oral. You walk through with them the 5 stages and they become better people in future.
That we call them developmental milestones. These oral, ano, and what are they? As a parent, now deal with those stages very well. If it's the oral, give the child the be very careful because you know what your child passed through. They will change because the brain is growing. Thank you. That's powerful. I hope, Mary, that one has also helped you.
Yes, it has. Now about the teenagers.
Yeah.
Teenagers, if I could try.
Yes.
Remember, we are saying it could also be it's in their unconscious mind or they find themselves doing it. I got like teacher, okay, or I learned somewhere there's this immediacy when it has happened and that person is angry, you bring it to their conscious and say, listen to the tone of your voice, look at what you've done. Maybe they have thrown something, they have banged the door. So you bring it to their realization that look at what you have done. It's a spur of the moment. You pushed, maybe it was your sibling, you pushed them, you didn't mean to hurt them, and then they fell down and hurt themselves. So you now say, if you see you could, if you keep at it, you could end up hurting somebody, and you thought you were just pushing them polepole, kumbe hiyo push yenye ulisukuma ikawa ikakuwa mzito na iko na nguvu, and you ended up hurting that person. So you bring it to that realization and you do it immediately that thing has happened. I'm thinking that is if it is a teenager, but if it is a grown-up, sometimes we are told you wait when you feel the moment is right. Then now because at that time, it's like that person may not understand or may not see it, but when they're calmer, then you walk them through, like, you see, when this happened, Just look at the steps that you did. You banged the door, you pushed away the plate. Then they may listen, they may understand, but the next time they do it and they push a plate, it will, oh, this was how this person meant. This is how I normally react to. So you're kind of trying to bring it to their conscious level, and you're doing it for the teenagers or for the young ones immediately, because I think, I don't know, do I say short-term memory, or you bring it to their conscious immediately. For the older persons, that one may require first when they've toned down. My thoughts.
I also
Thank
have
you.
an input on the same. So,
Good
like
input.
when a child does something, you need, as a child, as a parent, you need to find a very good way to talk to them. You explain to them. So this is what you have done, and it is not good. When you push someone, you will hurt them. You just ask them. You walk with them through a conversation that that builds trust between you and the child, and then it becomes easy for that child to just change, because mommy said pushing is bad, and when I push someone, that person will fall down. And you explain the whole thing. You don't just leave out some information, and you, after this, what happens when you do this next time, you tell them what will happen. Some kids are grounded, ABCDFGH, and so many other things. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else with an input? I like that one you have said, immediacy. And I think you take the spur of the moment by doing this. Arresting the situation when it is fresh. For example, in teenagers, when you see a behavior, let's say it's anger issues, don't wait until they are calm. Just settle it there and there. I did it once, and it worked miracles for my case. Because that person was able to express himself there and there. And he explained to me where the anger is coming from. I was able to locate the anger, and we dealt with it. So I can say immediacy is very key. When a teenager displays or shows a particular behavior, it's upon you now as a parent to address it here and now. As of here and now. Address it there and then. And you'll be able to pick those feelings immediately instead of postponing them. That is me. Can we give ourselves at least 10 minutes? We make a breather. We make a recap. We take a cup of water, at least the 10 minutes. A breather of 10 minutes would be therapeutic, but we come by 8:30 at least, so that we know where to start as we come back. Let's have a breather, all of us.
Work today is broken. Every day, people juggle so many different tools just to get work done. A simple task turns into a time-consuming mess because work sprawl has scattered the tools and contexts we rely on. And the trend towards bundling software isn't addressing the root of the problem. The system's broken, and it's wasting our time. 8 years ago, we started ClickUp with a mission to save people time from switching between a bunch of different applications. But we knew the answer wasn't just bundling a bunch of tools together. We needed to rethink how software was built entirely. To solve the root of the problem, we built a single flexible platform with powerful primitives that can be shared to build multiple first-class products inside of one app. We call this convergence. It's allowed us to deliver products at an extremely high velocity, and now we're tying it all together in a new way. Everything we've built has led to this. Introducing ClickUp 4.0, the first converged AI workspace in the world. It's the future of software. It's not just another bundle of apps. It's a fundamentally converged platform where everything works together seamlessly. From communication to project management to knowledge management in one app, accelerated by the world's most productive AI. 4.0 is the epicenter for all of your work and collaboration. It's the beginning of a new meta-category of apps that will define the next generation of software in the AI age. And it ushers in a new era of craft and quality for ClickUp's product. We've always said that using ClickUp saves you one day every week, but I'm confident that you're going to save a lot more than that with 4.0. Because when all of your work converges into one app, one tab, one AI workspace, everything just clicks.
Let's say you're chatting with a friend on WhatsApp when suddenly you see a product catalog from your favorite brand. A few taps later, you're browsing, asking questions, and even completing your purchase, all within the same chat. Welcome to WhatsApp Shopping, the future of e-commerce. But what exactly is WhatsApp Shopping? It's a feature that lets businesses sell products directly through WhatsApp. No need to switch apps or visit websites. Just browse, chat, and buy all in one place. Let's dive into the key benefits of WhatsApp Shopping. First up, instant engagement. Businesses can reply to customer questions in real time, ensuring no one's left hanging. This helps build trust and keeps the conversation going. Next, personalized shopping. Businesses can use your preferences to send tailored product suggestions, making shopping feel more personal and special. WhatsApp Shopping also helps businesses boost conversion rates. With features like quick replies, product catalogs, and even in-app payments, it's easier than ever for customers to complete their purchases. And it's mobile first. Customers can shop anytime, anywhere, without switching between apps, making shopping on the go super easy. From fashion brands to small local businesses, WhatsApp Shopping works across all industries. Whether it's browsing the latest outfits, ordering groceries, or even booking travel, businesses are creating seamless shopping experiences. Interested in learning how WhatsApp Shopping can transform your business? Check out the blog in the description below for more details and tips. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more updates. See you next time.
I hope we are now okay. I can see it is 8:36. We have at least used 15 minutes, which are okay. A breather is good. Okay. I hope you have been able to take a cup of water and something else. Because we are adult learners, we have so many issues to tackle, even checking whether the food is cooked well, doing some supervision here and there. Okay. I think as far as I am concerned, yeah, very, very true. I like that input, yes. You have also to supervise the kitchen to see whether things are okay because you need to eat by the end of the day. I have done that within a very few minutes. I have also been able to take a cup of water. It is here with me. We need to be wise anyway. Okay. I want us to look at briefly the goals of psychoanalytic theory. When we are using this theory, what is our main goal? What are we going to help this client with? Now that we have known it is concerned about the unconscious, bringing the unconscious to the conscious, and the theory is also talking about how personality is formed, and also that we have the structures of the personality, and we have some defense mechanisms in us, which sometimes can make our issues get repressed the more. The more we use our defense mechanisms, the more our desires and our memories and our pains are really, really dug behind our backs. So it's important also to know there is a word this man uses that when you allow clients to talk without interference, or catharsis. I'm sorry, Elizabeth has many, many issues. Our Mchungaji was calling me for some confirmation. I'm sorry. A vicar's call is crucial, and sometimes we peak. What was I saying? I was talking about this word we call catharsis. Catharsis is whereby you allow the client to talk until they are able to relieve themselves so that those repressed feelings can be aired out. Okay. And it fosters self-awareness, this catharsis, and resolve deep-seated emotional conflicts. So we have in ourselves the deep-seated. They are seated down in our unconscious, and they can really kill us and maim us as we are alive. And when we bring this catharsis, as a result of helping our clients to talk, they can be able to restructure their personality and are able also to overcome maladaptive behaviors. Very, very important to help our clients with this catharsis. It's a concept, it is something used by psychoanalytic theory, and it's very, very key. So I want us straight away, without much ado, to go to the key goals of psychoanalytic theory. And what I can say basically, the theory aims at improving the mental health of a person by bringing the unconscious repressed thoughts and memories into conscious awareness. Hope you pick that. To improve mental health, because it's the mind, by bringing repressed thoughts, the ones we said, into conscious. Thoughts, emotion, and memories into conscious. And how do you do it? You can ask me, how do you do this? It's by giving a client something we call free association, giving them a chance to talk and say what they feel about themselves and share their pains without disturbing them so that they develop the catharsis we talked about. So that is the primary goal of psychoanalysis. Other goals are to strengthen the ego. And I want us to understand, and I want to hear it from you. How are we able to strengthen the ego? That one I want us to brainstorm. And I think I can give you 5 minutes. You brainstorm among yourselves and see how can you help a client to strengthen the ego, because it's very key. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you strengthen the ego? Somebody is saying through affirmation. Maybe you can tell us more about that. What do you mean by affirmation?
My thinking is you may find that someone is good at something, but they're always second guessing. So just affirming to them, yeah, you can do it, and what you've said is correct, or how you've done it is the correct way. So whenever they say something or do something, or an attribute that they find, you see, so for example, they're well-dressed, you're well-dressed, or you look beautiful, and the response is like, oh, really? Unanichezea ama unanidanganya? So just affirming to them that indeed what you've said is correct. They're smart, they're beautiful, or they're well-dressed, or correctly articulated an issue. That's my thought.
Who are not sure of themselves. So they need a lot of affirmation. Yes, you can make it. You did it well. I like it when you are speaking. That affirmation can strengthen the. I think I like that point. Yes, affirmation is a key ingredient in strengthening our ego. What else? How else can we strengthen our ego? You have a person who has a weak ego. They are suffering, and they are sharing that they are suffering. How can you help them to strengthen that ego and to feel good about themselves? One is affirmation. We have had it. Is somebody speaking?
Yes. Yes, let me try. I think the other one is just doing the opposite of some of the things we have been learning here, like helping them now undo and come, undo the defense mechanisms. So that I think that is a big one too. Just do the opposite of that. Help them to walk away and to stay away from defense mechanisms.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. Yeah, help them not to overuse them. I think that's also important. Like you are saying, undoing them, not using them all the times. Help them not to overuse those ego, the defense mechanism, because it might damage them. Thank you very much. That input is powerful. And another thing for me, I think you can do to strengthen the ego, help them to become independent. You know, there are people, human beings are funny. There are some people who really rely on others, even for their own thoughts. Help these people now that you are in this position. I feel it is important that you start taking your thoughts independently. Let other people not influence you so much such that you are not independent in your thoughts. Help them to be independent and responsible so that they can manage themselves. That is the key point. Help them to be independent, responsible, so that they can be able to manage their conflicting demands. Instead of, like what Dave is saying, instead of relying on other people to do their own things. That's also very powerful on how you can strengthen a person's ego. Mm-hmm.
I'm also thinking you can tell them to, like if they are a yes person, they don't know how to say no, you can ask them to try and say no. And then when they come back, you ask them, when you said no, how did you feel? For them to tell you like, oh, maybe I felt good for once in my life. This is, so they are strengthening that behavior.
Done it very well, yes. Yes. How did you feel? Help them to be assertive, to be themselves. Thank you. Thank you. I think so many of us have what we call introjected values. We have been so introjected in things. We have never been ourselves. And therefore we are suffering. And our ego is very weak because people think on our behalf. Even there are some people, yes, Marianne, you respond. I am always very annoyed, and it is quite annoying when you are in a group and people are told to comment, and they say what Jane has said, surely. Even if Jane has said something, a point that is corresponding with yours, you have an independent thought. You can always say anything else. Don't just like they have said. What have they said? What about you? Just like they have said. That one you have a very weak ego. Very weak. People have to, even your own children, if you hear them saying that Joroge has said, or you hear them say, Nyakudi has said, or Janet has said. So what? I think you should beat that child so that they use their head. Yeah. Let us also train our children to be very dependent and use their minds, not at a very young age. I can see you are really concurring with me. Thank you. Marianne Karaoke, you wanted to say something?
Not really. Ni venye ni upande mmoja nimeishiwa na moto, so ndio nimerudi tena.
It's okay. So that's the many ways we can strengthen the ego. Please let us as counselors help people to strengthen their ego. You can go deeper during your free time and see how the ego can be strengthened. And you even ask for case scenarios in a counseling setup. Very, very important. So that you get more examples to help you in the future. That is the second goal then the other goal is to resolve deep-rooted conflicts. So the aim of psychoanalysis is to help clients resolve their underlying conflicts. People are suffering, people have problems, and they have issues they have never been able to resolve. So it is good to sit them down, including our own mothers. Let me give an example of my own parent one time. She used to tell me, I feel so bad because my dad did not take me to school. And because I was very obedient, our parents are of that age, old age, she said, I went to school, but after some time my dad hid me under the bed not to go to school. And this thing really makes me feel bad. And in fact, she used to be given positions even in the church. At one point, she was a chair lady of an Anglican church. So she was a powerful woman. But that thing was really disturbing her. So I could sit her down. I could sit her down sometimes and tell her, the past mom is gone, but the present is here with you. What are you doing with this present mom? You have what it takes, people recognize you, and still you are demeaning yourself. I think you need to work on that. And I used to repeat it to her. And she really worked on it. And she told me, I'm now becoming stronger, even when I'm talking to them. And she could tell me, like now I was talking to those, she was not very old. She died when she was young, 67. And she used to tell me, now I'm talking boldly to the women because I helped her as a daughter to deal with her underlying issues which were preventing her from making it in life. So let us help these people, including our husbands who are bruised. We have some husbands we are married to. They are devastated, they are ailing. Help that man. Inside that strong man, there is a very bitter boy. Very bitter boy kanarukaruka hapo. Help that small boy. Inside that woman, you see a big woman. There is a very small baby there, crying and craving. Help them to deal with those underlying issues, those deep-rooted conflicts that they have, instead of blaming them all the times. That's what I can say on resolving underlying issues. Because, like I have written here, they are rooted in early childhood experiences and trauma. Most of us are traumatized by many issues. Thank you, the one who is saying that's so true. Yes, we are traumatized. Verbal traumas, emotional traumas, psychological trauma, social traumas. We are traumatized and we are scared as we walk around. So let us help people to deal with these issues. Don't judge them. When you see these people, don't judge them. Yes, Joan Geshomo. Joan?
Point of helping someone, it could be maybe a spouse or maybe even, I don't know, someone close to you. And sometimes it's hard to help someone who doesn't want to be helped. Maybe you can see that anger and you know where it's coming from. You have a bit of history of their past. But the more you try maybe to help or guide them or recommend therapy, they don't want, they become even more defensive. To protect yourself, do you take a step back, or what would you say from experience? How would you help a person? Because you know, you can see they need help.
Sorry? You are saying there is this person whom you see they need help, but at least they are not reachable per se. Just listen to their anger. and make them realize that they are getting annoyed. Don't just tell them to explain. Let them realize that, hey, sometimes when you are talking, you are so angry. Let me pick this from my vicar. So, yes, I have been able to explain myself and niachilie nimalizane na class. What was I saying? When they display that anger, don't say anything. Let the anger just go. And then as they are getting annoyed, sometimes when they cool down a bit, you can, what is it? Don't even first dig deep. Ask, what is it about this anger? What is it? What did it mean? Then they can say, then you know there is a problem there. With time, you shall be able to capture them. Don't be in a hurry. When somebody is in pain, never try to dig the issue. Do it slowly by slowly. I want to give an example, maybe to help you pick it. I have this friend of mine has anger issues. And I was so surprised at one given time, she was able to share. But anytime she got annoyed and I erupt, hata mimi kama rafiki namwambia kitu ananirukia. Namwambia kwani ni nini? Kuna kitu nimekufanyia? Wewe wachana na mimi. And then I could tell her, could be, kuna kakitu kanakusumbua. She was not ready to share. So anytime she got annoyed, I used to tell her, maybe you can share. Do you know one time she told me, I think I have an issue which I have never been able to address. In fact, she has not been able to tell me everything. She tells me bit by bit. So it can take time. Don't be thrown out or don't be discouraged by their response, by their stubbornness. They are being stubborn because they are pained. Nobody wants to share the pain. Anything that pains, people do not like sharing. So give them space. In fact, anything painful, even for you. Right now, my son has told me something. And it's like I didn't want to listen because it was not making me feel good. And then I like him. He told me, Mom, sometimes it is good to listen. Before I started this class, and I was so happy. Then I told him, I'm listening, my son. It is not easy. It is not easy to share a painful thing. It's not easy. So let us also try to take our time until when we do this theory by Gestalt, peeling the layers of neurosis, you are going to get the gist of what I'm talking about. Let people share at their own time. Pain is difficult. Pain is very difficult to share. Pain. And it is pain that has been deep-rooted. Not only a pain of one day. 20 years pain. It's not easy, my dears. So let us give them time. Just pick what they are saying. Try to move with them with the little they are about to share until they can reach the core of the matter. In so doing, you'll be able to help them in future. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes.
Thank you. Those are the deep-rooted conflicts. That is the third goal. The fourth goal is about helping them to achieve lasting personality change. I don't know how we can help people change their personality. Kuna kitu tunaita structural personality. It is the way you have structured yourself. You know you can structure yourself. Mimi nitakuwa na behave hivi. Mimi tulifunzwa ati kuna kitu tunasema, sijui sikumbuki vizuri. Kuna ile inaitwa trait personality. Trait ni inborn. Uko nao, kuna trait. na kuna ile hiyo naona kama ni hii inaitwa structural. Structural ni wewe una structure, nita behave hivi. And sometimes it can be very repulsive, very intimidating. Because we keep on changing our personalities. And this is the masking personality. People mask. So help people to see their structural personality. How have they structured themselves? Help them. Help them to see it. And help them to change accordingly. I don't know how you can help that in that. Maybe I can hear from you before we move on.
I can try.
Try, thank you.
So when a person comes to share, like we say, like counseling is not about advising, but allowing people to find solution and identifying. It's about allowing a guest to become their own therapist. So once you discover this person is angry all the time, sometimes you'll ask like the way you asked, what is it with this anger? What happened? Can you share more? That way you'll help them identify the anger, and that way you'll make them. Nimesahau kinyokuwa nataka kusema. Yeah, like that. I've forgotten. I don't know what I wanted to say, but I have forgotten. Yeah, that was my point. But listening to them without being judgmental and allowing them to identify that thing that they are struggling with.
I think whatever you are saying is very key, helping them to identify that which they are struggling with. You know, sometimes we are so general. We should try to be very specific. I told you the other time, counseling is about discourse analysis. You analyze a word and you do it through a lot of specifications. And you do more with the how. The how is very important. If I'm able to pick well, I see that many times you have anger issues. What is this about your anger? Then they can be able to tell you. They can be able to tell you. Like that lady told me, and she really cried. She told me many things. And we are good friends. So it
Teacher amepotea ama mimi ndio niko zangu?
hapana, ni mtu alikuwa ananipigia na ikata. Unanisikia?
Yes.
Tunakusikia teacher, tunakusikia.
Yes? Munanisikia? Somebody wanted to say something. The other goal, the last goal is to overcome resistance and transference. How can we help people to overcome their resistances? People are very resistant. People are very resistant in nature. So what you do, identify the resistance, and you also identify the mild defense against positive change. You'll be able to change this mind that is very defensive. Check the defense that these people have so that they can be able to change their mind by trying to redirect their feelings. Sometimes you tell them you may not change what happened, but you can change what is happening. Don't tell them that what happened will change. It may never change. Tell them it may not change, but what is happening now can be changed. In so doing, they overcome the resistances because they know whatever happened cannot change. For example, if I was beaten by my father when I was a young girl, the beating, yes, stopped that time, but there is a market left. Maybe I will never forget about that. The fact remains I was beaten, I was. So that one is there. But what am I feeling about what happened is what matters. What I am feeling about what happened is what matters. So let us help them to overcome those resistances and to understand that it's not always important that we rubber stamp everything that happens to us. We can forget things that happened to us so that we can move on with life. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Any question as far as that is concerned? Before I forget, when you go, when I want to give an assignment kidogo, we did the fluid psychosexual stages. I want the structural theory because this structural theory, before I forget, it is talking more, you'll be able to fully understand the fluid developmental theories. That is the psychosexual. So when you read the structural theory, you are going to see much. Maybe it would dwell with the same things, but the explanation may differ a bit. Just look at it, that is structural theory, during your free time, so that you may be able to pick more from what we have seen in the psychosexual. And this structural theory, it is talking about the id, the ego, the superego. Naona kama ni hizo. So it is not following that stage of psychosexual. So you are going to pick a few things that are different and can help you understand the personality of people in a different perspective. And I think last time I had given some work, assignment to be done. Kidogo. Did I give? I thought I had given something. Please go through the goals. Oh, okay, good. I will, my dear. Rosette is asking, teacher, go through the goals. Na mimi nitaenda huko. Because the goals are very important for you to understand. Let me start. We said I'll start from the onset because I don't want to overload you with many issues. Today I'm not teaching you anything else. Let me highlight on the goals, techniques tufanye kesho, na ingine inaitwa therapeutic role and process tutafanya kesho, si gumu. So I said the primary goal of psychoanalytic theory is to improve the mental health. So it is aimed at improving the mental health of a person, that is, bringing the unconscious and those repressed thoughts into the conscious. Then, the other goal is to strengthen the ego. We also highlighted on that, how we can help a person to strengthen the ego by making them more independent and responsible. The third one is resolve deep-rooted conflicts. Let us help these people to go deeper into their inner world and see that which is bringing chaos into them and how they can be able to work with on those issues. The other one is achieve lasting personality change. Initially, I said the structure of personality in the first key concept, it talks about the way personality is formed. So you help them to achieve lasting personality. That is a personality that can help them to be good people. Then the other one, I said like it was the last one, overcome resistance. Help these clients to overcome resistances. And I mentioned something like helping them to identify the resistances and also the mind's defense mechanisms. When you help them to identify those resistances, they will be in a position to overcome those resistances and move on with life. And then I can mention the last one I've seen here, help them to improve self-awareness. Let them know the why behind the emotions and behaviors. That's very important. I had forgotten that. In fact, at the core of this theory, the idea is to create awareness and coping strategies, helping people to understand why, the why behind the behaviors. Why am I behaving the way I'm behaving? Why am I always late for school? Why am I always making my food get burnt? No, there are some people who can cook food, it burns every time. Yes, yeah, people they cook food and it is burning everything. So you ask yourself, what is this that is wrong with me? Why? Why behind my emotions and behaviors? Why am I always conflicting with my husband? Anytime he comes, even if he has not done anything wrong, I'm always annoyed. Why? I think that's powerful about this. I think that's my takeaway home. Improve your self-awareness. Be aware, why am I behaving the way I'm behaving? Why am I always, even in the online class, I'm always late? I can never keep time. There is a reason. Why? When you ask yourself that question, why am I always complaining? I have so many siblings. I'm given an example. We are 6 of us. Us, we are many, like 10. And then you are the only one who is never contented. Ask yourself, why? Why? So it's a very good theory which makes you understand or get to know or improve your awareness and also improve your coping strategies. Very, very important. Yep. Thank you for asking, because I have remembered that one I had left and it was not deliberate. It's only that sometimes maybe somebody anapita tu bila kujua, but that's a very key point in the goal. Help your children to know the why behind their emotions. Help your colleagues to know the why. Why? Ukiongeleshwa, you are very rude. Why? Like there's somebody I always ask, ni nini inafanyanga ukiongeleshwa unakuaga rude? Rude. Ongelesha mtu na hujamfanyia chochote, alafu ako rude. Then he tells me, hey, ile nimepitia, mimi nimepitia mambo mengi, lakini si mimi nimekukosea my dear. Nimepitia mingi. So at least amejua the why behind. That's very powerful. Awareness. Okay. I think I'm there. So I've said you look at the structural, and those who will be able to get time, you can also look at the techniques of psychoanalytic theory. When we come, it will be a walkover so that we try to see whether we can get a small case study and tuichambue kesho. Nitatafuta a case study. We can try to brainstorm. Case studies are very good. Okay. Any query, any clarification, any input?
Okay, teacher, thank you very much for sharing the goals. But do we have them on the notes? If we don't have them on the notes, then I would just love you to repeat the first one because I was writing them and I haven't written the first one.
All of them are in the notes.
Okay. Okay, then it's okay.
Which ones have you written so that I can also repeat? You understand them better when you have written.
Yes. So I've written the first one. The first one passed me. The second one I wrote is strengthen the client's ego. The third one is resolve deep-rooted issues. The other one is help them achieve a lasting personality change. The other one is to overcome resistance. The other one is help them improve their self-awareness, as in to understand the why behind the emotions.
Very good. That is okay.
Yes.
You'll get them
so the
deep
first
enough.
one is?
The first one was to improve mental health by bringing unconscious to conscious.
Okay, thank you.
To improve mental health.
Mental health by bringing the unconscious to conscious.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. God bless.
Karibu sana. Thank you for even asking. Clarification is key. Thank you too for asking.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any input? So that we know what to do next. We cannot as we move on. Move now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Getting nothing.
Yes. Let us share our takeaway. We go. Our takeaway now. Please. Let us not be quiet. What are we taking home so that we can call it a day?
I can start. I can start and go.
Yes.
Mine will be very short. I think from today's class, it has totally disconstructed the misconception of counseling sessions, especially as Africans. Just by learning that all these issues that can stem from unconscious memories and thoughts and things coming from there. So I think it is a very good call to respond to counseling sessions, because mostly we think we only go there when we have an issue just the same way like you just go to the hospital when you're sick. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think I like what you have said, deconstructing. Thank you. That's powerful.
I go next.
Yes.
I have learned that ego is part of the mind that organizes identity, regulates self-esteem, and mediates between inner needs and outside world. A healthy ego allows balance, self-worth, emotional regulation, and the ability to form stable relationships. That's what I've learned about the ego.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now you work on your ego very well. Work on your ego.
Hello.
Yes.
What I can say today is I've learned a lot, and I've learned that we have an unconscious mind, and it's very, very powerful. It affects our behaviors. Some repressed memories, thoughts actually influence how we behave in real life, and maybe as there's a lot for us to learn about ourselves when we actually monitor these behaviors and try to question why we behave the way we do, or why do we do the things we do, especially all these psychosexual stages were very interesting. I didn't know that as a baby, from 0 to 1 year, some things can really affect your life. Now, like the nail biting, some behaviors that we actually never knew what the background was. But today, some of my questions have been answered. So I'm happy that I'm learning more about human behavior. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate. Thank you. When we learn and we are ready to change, I think it becomes better and we become change agents. Not we are here because we want to change and also change other people. Thank you. That's powerful.
For me, my take home is also about the ego. And before, I used to think the ego is something very bad, especially when someone behaves in a certain way. People say, we are gonna ego sana. So hearing a very different, I'll just say the truth of what the ego is, has made me see it in a whole new way, and that we can have a healthy ego and also one that is damaged. I've also learned about the id and the superego. For me, that's something new, totally new, and something I appreciate that I've gotten to get a deeper understanding. And now when someone mentions the ego, I'll be seeing it from a different perspective, and also about the developmental stages of children and also how to deal with teenagers. That addressing something immediately is also something I'm taking home, because sometimes personally, as a parent, what I used to do is to wait for my son to calm down and then I address an issue. But now I've realized when I address it later, sometimes he has even forgotten. So I'm bringing up another emotion and we are dealing with things that he had even forgotten. So dealing with it immediately is something also that I'm taking home for my own parenting journey. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate. You have really picked a lot. Thank you. Is there anyone who wants to say? Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Even also in my observation, among the concepts that you have taken us through, there is this one which I can call it a peculiar one, whereby I've realized at times people do behave currently the way they behave because of the generation. That's the genealogy, right from conception. So more especially from this stage of oral stage and anal stage, it can cause a great impact in the way people behave currently, because of maybe the way they were conceived and the way they were brought up until now they are grown up or they are mature. So, so it is very impactful. We should not take it for granted. At times, people behave because of heredity issues. For today, that's what I've taken home.
It is very powerful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I like that. You know, counseling is about what you are picking as an individual, and it's very powerful. Thank you, Ernest.
So for me, I think my take home is the why. You know, why in every behavior, both self, you know, even when doing introspection, why maybe I had to act the way I did, and why someone's behavior is the way it is, because it just doesn't happen from the blue. So just stepping back and thinking about it is really something I've picked out today. And it has reminded me on our first day when we were talking about our objectives and expectations of the goal, Marianne said to understand self. And I think it has resonated well today that indeed there is a lot to also learn about oneself when we now look at it through this lens of the theory we've learned today. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mine is that most of the people were on the past, whereby if you remain on the past, it holds somewhat behind. You are supposed to leave the past and move with the current and have your own goals. Take the positive things and move on. Also about the ego, you are supposed to know the ego, the limits, the boundaries, have the boundaries about the ego, so that you move forward. You have to set the positivity and leave away the negativity. That's my take home. Thanks.
Hear you clearly, but I have picked some people dwell on the past, and the past is not helping you. It will even crush you. Thank you.
My take home is I've realized that most of the issues that we handle and the problems that we have, most of them are in our subconscious mind. And most of the time, we find that they are triggered and we find people react in one way or the other. So I've now understood why people behave the way they behave and how to handle them. Noting that maybe it's from the birth, something, and it's something, a trauma, maybe something that happened when they were young, and now that is what is coming up after it's been triggered. That's my take home.
Thank you very much. You have really picked it well. Let us not judge them harshly. Yes, thank you. You have picked very well. People are coming from somewhere. People are passing through a lot because they passed through a lot. And they are bitter, they are pained. Thank you for that. Okay. If there is
I have the last one. I have the last one I have learned. I have just seen it now. Now, what happens when the ID and the egos are not balanced? ID dominates impulsivity, addiction, anger outbursts, risky behavior. Ego dominates rigidity, over control, repression, anxiety, and perfectionism. Hey, these things, oh my, oh my, hey, I'm really learning a lot. What? That's it. That's it.
You can see now what happened. If they collide now, somebody becomes chaotic. If they collide, that one becomes a real thing, a real issue. The person may not be able to function, particularly if the ego is overwhelmed. Things are serious. Once the ego is overwhelmed, this person is in danger. Particularly the ego. You know, the ego is you. Have you ever, some people say, let me give you this saying as we part ways. People say you'd rather lose everything else, but never lose yourself. Losing yourself means you are losing your ego. Once you lose your ego, even if you do what or what, even if your super ego is so powerful, even if your id is so whatever, the ego is key. Never lose yourself, whatever the case. And that's when you see, like, if I may give an example, our time is gone. I may give an example. When Samson lost himself, he gave himself to Delilah. When Alexander the Great lost himself, he died because of liquor. He drank a lot of it. When somebody like Moses lost himself because of anger, he ate the stone and lost whatever God had promised him. So when we lose ourselves, we lose everything. Moses almost lost everything. Alexander the Great lost everything. And he said, bury me naked. So that people see that I have been buried with nothing. What does that mean? When we lose ourselves, we become devastated, frustrated, and we can be anything. That's why we have so many prostitutes. They have lost themselves. They have no shame. When the ego is lost, you can go naked. You can talk anything. That's why even you find people are so careless with words. Narushia mtu neno lolote unafikiria. Your ego is damaged. Because if you are normal, you will not be producing those words. Anyway, that was overboard, but it's because of that point. Okay, somebody is saying, can we consider the option of raising our hearts? Harbor request, can we please consider using the option of raising our hearts when we want to talk? This gives us good structure and also gives a chance to different personality here who may want to contribute but don't get the chance. Thank you, I pick that. Thank you for that concern. Have I crossed anybody? Yeah, that is good, David. Have I crossed anybody? Raise up your hand so that I mention you. If you have a point, don't go home with that point. You can see I've even gone overboard. Okay, thank you so much. I'm delighted even to be in this class. It is not easy. We are tired. But because it's a new theory, I didn't want to rush. Yes, Ernest, you have raised your hand. You have something? Ernest?
Yes, there's these journals that we are writing.
Yes.
And we are requested so that you may share your email so that we may do the same to submit.
Let me do. Allow me to do it tomorrow because it's here, but then time is not on our side and I'm tired. Allow me to do that tomorrow, please. I will.
Madam.
I think we can say the grace and we part ways. Let's meet tomorrow. Go, Rosette, yes?
I'm sorry, teacher. I know it's crossed our time, but teacher, just to remind you, when you're sending the email, please remember the list of counselors. Hello.
Yes.
Can we say the grace?
Anybody else? Rosette has talked. I don't see anybody else. Can we say the grace and then we can proceed tomorrow? The grace.
Now may the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ
And the love of God.
The love of God,
the
and the sweet
fellowship of
fellowship
the
of the
Holy
Holy
Spirit,
Spirit, rest and abide
be
with
us
us
now
forevermore.
and forevermore.
Amen.
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 Bye.
Good
Everybody.
night.
See you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Bye bye. Good night.
Bye.